few weeks back, I was shooting an episode, and on our way back, we found this gun floating in the water while we were on plane heading back to the dock. We were able to get it on camera. It's a Koah Speargun. I believe it's a 36-inch gun. It's a pretty nice gun, pretty expensive gun. It was in fantastic shape as far as the bands and the shaft and all that. Nothing was bent on it. It did have a big gash out of it from what looks like a prop had hit it. So we're going to have a little fun with it. I got some pour epoxy, and we're going to do a kind of a rehab on it. I'm going to go to that footage right now where we found the gun and show you what that was like. So check this out. Over there. Over there.
No way.
Or it's a piece of driftwood. I don't know. That's a spear gun, dude. Treasure found on our way in. Awesome. Holy cow.
It's a Koah.
Tell me there's a shaft on it too.
It's got a
shaft. Holy cow. Dude, look at the bottom of it.
Oh, look.
Somebody's prop tried to take a big bite out of it. Dude, that thing's in perfect shape.
Dude, it's nice. And the shaft?
Shaft straight. No way. Use it off. No way. So yeah, we're running back in, guys. All of a sudden off to the side, see a little piece of what we thought was driftwood at first. I got a little closer and it looked like a spear gun. Just out here floating with treasure.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That is awesome. It's gonna need a little TLC. We'll have to make a project out of it. Go through the, maybe epoxy that or do some kind of resin and try to make it clean. We'll have to make sure the shaft is straight too. All right, guys, stay tuned on that. That's awesome. So that was pretty cool finding that gun, or this gun, floating in the water. Now we're gonna kind of make it our own. It's kind of neat when you find something like that, like a floating treasure that you can utilize in the water. So I'm looking forward to getting in the water with this thing and shooting some fish. But let me tell you what we're going to do to this now. You can see right in here, it's a pretty good gash. So I am going to I'm going to tape this off right here. Then I'm going to set it so it's flat. And what I got is like a pour epoxy that I'm going to put into it. It's just a 2-port pour epoxy. And I was going to try to, at first I thought I was going to make it look natural and try to keep it as natural as possible. But there's some other scratches and dings on this thing that I think that I just kind of want to emphasize and bring out. It might make it uglier, but it's going to make it a little more special and sentimental. So we're going to do like a neon green pour epoxy in this. And then I might have to do 2 pours. To get it level. Then I'm going to sand it down, and after I sand it down, I'm going to come back later and do a penetrating epoxy that I brush on it, because that's what Koah does on their spear guns. So let's start with getting this thing taped off. I'm going to go a little higher here so it can wrap over a little bit, but I'm not going to wrap this tape over until I get a couple pieces on here for some little stability when it does roll over, so it can support itself when I pour it. It doesn't kind of bow out. If it does bow out a little bit, that's all right, because I'm probably going to be able to sand it down. At least I think I am. That's the game plan. All right, so 3 should do it. And this is the area we're going to pour. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get it close. So with this epoxy, this pour epoxy, it's a 50-50 mix. So I'm gonna do 40 and 40 milliliters. There's 40. And there's 40. Now, I'm gonna put the lid back on these so I don't have any spillage. It wants you to mix this, mix the two, the hardener and the resin together for a few minutes. And then after that, I have, that is the color that we're going to be mixing into the epoxy here to give it its color. And I think this is probably going to be more than enough to pour. And I got another little area over here, kind of goes down. I'm going to wait till I can turn it, and I'll do a little there. And I think I got another cut or gash on the other side that I'm going to use to emphasize it. And see how it goes. Like I said, once I get this epoxy, this pour resin in there, I'm going to use the other resin, the penetrating epoxy, to go over the whole thing and kind of seal this thing. When I first did get this gun out of the water, it had been in the water a little while, because when we got it back, we could get the shaft in there, but it was just a little tight. And it was just from the water actually did absorb into this wood a little bit. So once I set it out in the sun for a day and it had a chance to dry, it came out, it was perfect. The shaft went in and out with no issues. All right, so this is my first time doing this, but we're gonna kind of go a little bit. See what kind of color that gives it. Seeing how that's, I'm gonna go with the rest of the powder now, because it's not standing out as much as I'd like. If I gotta do a different color elsewhere, I will. It's really absorbing that resin too. Sorry about that, it cut off on me. So, working in the sun, I think, was a mistake. I was still able to get it done, but it just got the material too hot. It made it kick too quick. But I still was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. I'm gonna have to sand it down to get it level for what I want, but like I said, I was able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. So I don't even think I'm gonna have to do a re-pour on this once I get it all sanded down. But once I sand it down and get it to where I want, and then go back over it with this penetrating epoxy, I think it's gonna look pretty good. But working in the sun was a mistake. So I'm gonna let this cure, let this set up, and come back, pull the tape off, and see what we got, and see if we need to do a little touch up or if we can go on to the next step. All right, the pour epoxy has set up. You can see it here. I'm gonna hit it with my DA sander and kind of level all this out, which really doesn't matter because I gotta sand it all anyway. So, or you know, sand it all down to epoxy it. But gonna hit it and knock it down, see how it goes. Okay, so I've done some pour epoxy here, and I'm going to come a little closer so you can hopefully see it. But what I did right in here, I poured some epoxy. It was about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch deep where the prop had hit it. So I had to do like 2 pours, and I did like a green pour epoxy first, and then I went back over and kind of filled the low spots and some of the pinholes with like a blue. Now I'm gonna sand the whole thing down. I took the handle off and some of the other stuff to make it easier to sand. I'm gonna get it all sanded down, and then I'm gonna go over it with a penetrating epoxy. I'm gonna brush it on there, and what I'll probably do is, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hang it from here so I could work around it and kind of work my way down. Got a really nice dry day today, so it should be pretty good. So I'm gonna sand this down Alright guys, got it all sanded, prepped, wiped down, and ready to put a coat of this penetrating epoxy on there. So I'm going to brush a real thin coat on there. There's still some dings and stuff on here that I probably could have fixed, but I kind of wanted to leave it just to show the character of it, if you will. But just going to put a real thin coat on here. Like I said before, this is to keep the water from absorbing into this teak wood. So start down here. I just got it hanging here. So we got a really nice dry day. Well, all finished, and I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. The finish on it's got a nice little glossy finish. The resin pour that I did, you can see that came out pretty cool. I think that's going to help it anyways, because when the tagline here, when this line here, you know, that holds the shaft, you know, so you're not shooting a free shaft, it runs along here, and before you shoot, that would have potentially been a grab hazard, so that needed to stay consistent and smooth with the contour of the wood. So it's doesn't just look good, it's you know, preventing that from snagging. But yeah, found in the water, floating treasure. Nice Koah Speargun all redone. Next things to do is to go shoot something with it. So like I said, pretty happy with it. Couple little bubbles, and you know, for not being an expert, but I'm happy with it.